welcome back. It's season 5, episode 6. I can't believe it, man. Thank you for sticking around. We still have a long journey to go, so stick around. Now, one of the strangest things about moving countries, any immigrant will understand this, is realizing that your success doesn't automatically follow you. The things that once made you confident, they don't necessarily exist in your new environment, by the way. Hi, my name is Lydia, and on this channel, we ground ourselves and we name what is. So I share real life stories in the context of transitions and about transitions. The kind that look exciting from the outside but feel destabilizing on the inside. Because when life shifts under you, it can take time to understand what really is happening. And I use my life's transitions and experiences to make it relatable to understand what transitions are and what change can do to you. And once you understand it, you can name it and you can process it and you can deal with it better now and even in the future and be able to support those that you support and yourself. Now, in the last episode, I talked about what it felt like when my law degree did not translate the way I expected in the United States. You can go back and watch it. That was season 5, episode 5. But the deeper realization came after that. It wasn't just my career that changed. It was my sense of status. Let's talk about it. I felt in Kenya was respected. I felt that when I stepped into rooms, familiar or unfamiliar, meetings, conferences, there was a sense of respect. Ego likes that, by the way. There was a sense of being recognized professionally. I fit somewhere. People understood my expertise. I didn't have to explain things. By virtue of me just saying what I did, which means I explained, just saying who I was or where I worked automatically came with an underlying understanding. In Kenya, when I introduced myself as a lawyer, people understood what it meant. My education meant something. My professional identity meant something. And I'm not just saying this just to say lawyer is the one that really is the. I'm saying this to relate to any other person. You might have been an accountant. You might have been a doctor, a pilot, because I've come across so many immigrants who struggle to fit in America and to reestablish their careers. Now, when I arrived in America, none of those signals existed. I didn't receive the same awe. I didn't receive the same respect, if you want to see it. No one knew my background. I couldn't attach myself to an organization or to a title. No one knew my journey. I wasn't the accomplished professional I had been before. I was simply new. The new neighbor, the new spouse, the new this. I felt like I got labels from other people that I did not want to have or that felt beneath, if you know what I mean. Not in a bad sense. It might have felt like I didn't want. I didn't blame them for naming me that, but internally it bruised my ego a little bit. I like to just say it out loud, just because sometimes it's hard for most of us to just say what it is. It bruised my sense of worth. It kind of like I expected the same treatment I expected, and when it didn't come, I was like, I don't know about this and I don't know if I like it. When achievement disappears from your environment, your ego is the first to notice. You start asking yourself questions you never had to ask before. Who am I if no one here knows what I've accomplished? And I started to understand how accomplishment is something that society generally attaches to value, to self-esteem, to a lot of things. And I didn't understand that context until I was on the other side of my ego being bruised every single day. Even without people noticing, just me sitting by myself, there was something going on internally. This is something many immigrant people experience, but rarely talk about. Our identities are partially built on how the world reflects us back to ourselves. When those reflections disappear, your identity can start to feel unstable. When you're used to, what do you do? I work at. What do you do? I'm a lawyer. I'm a doctor. And that reflection you see on someone's face of admiration, of awe, of what you assume is respect, of how then people behave around you, that there can start to unstabilize you if you don't continue to receive those. And I say this with the most love. I see it over and over again. Let's get back to it. I didn't suddenly become less capable. That is very, very obvious. But I felt less certain and questioning who I was. The environment that once confirmed who I was gone. The context in which I built this identity was gone. Man, it's hard to explain sometimes, but I just have to say it because I know someone here will relate. And if someone is here listening, and if you're listening, if you're in transition where your achievements don't seem to carry the same weight anymore, understand this. You didn't lose your ability. You lost the environment that validated it. How do I know this? I experienced it myself. How do I know this? I have friends, I have family, I have people that are around me in the community. I see it every day, and I will continue to say this. I see it when someone's former bubbly self suddenly becomes very different. Suffice it to say, I see it mostly in men. There is a sense of maybe you've come from a different country and you had a title, you had drivers probably, you had an office space, you were saluted, yes sir, and then suddenly you come into America and all that is gone. You take on duties that you once assumed would be beneath you, you were never socialized for them. Things are changing, my dear. At the time though, I didn't understand any of this. I just knew something inside me felt smaller. I was not the big person I thought I was. And then something else happened. Something beautiful and overwhelming at the same time. Guess what? I became a mother. I know some of you related to what I was talking about. Now let's add on to the other layer. Because becoming is not one big moment. In life, it's a series of quiet transitions, one at a time. That is the only constant change. And we deserve gentleness through all of them. and understanding and naming and processing and everything that goes with it. Now, if you've ever experienced a moment where achievement didn't seem to follow you into a new environment, tell me about it in the comments. What helped you rebuild your confidence back? And if you haven't rebuilt it, what are you doing if this story resonates? Well, subscribe, like, share. This journey is going on. Come back tomorrow because the next chapter is about becoming a mother in a new country and also explaining when joy and isolation existed at the same time and I didn't have language for it. But we're gonna soon find out. Stick around. See you tomorrow.